Hello and welcome back once again to Get Cooking. It's been a while since we've done one of these. I probably say that at the start of each one of these videos now, but that's because I usually film a couple, then don't do anything for a while, and then do a couple more. So today I came up with an idea of something I haven't had since I was a kid. Can't find them anywhere anymore. Apparently no one bothers to make them anymore. But it popped into my head and I was like, what the hell, why not? I'll make my own, right? So the story goes, the other day I was trying to figure out what I wanted to eat, and I was like, well, I could make pizza, or I could go to Subway, because I have a Subway gift card that I haven't used yet. And then I was thinking, you know what I haven't had in a long time is a pizza sub. And turns out, as I was talking to a friend of mine, that I was saying, you know, what should I have for dinner? Should I make pizza or go get a sub? And they also said, why not a pizza sub? And I was like, okay, so apparently more than just me remembers pizza subs. But then of course my friend Jane chimes in like, what's a pizza sub? Millennials. But anyway, I was like, okay, well, where can I actually get a pizza sub other than making my own? I was like, I think I used to get them at Subway. So I look it up on Subway and they no longer carry it. Apparently it's still on their secret menu, but half the people that are employed by Subway don't know how to make things on the secret menu. They still have all the ingredients there to make it, so you kind of have to make your own sub and kind of walk them through how to make a pizza sub. I was like, if I'm going to do all that, I might as well go buy stuff and make my own. So that's what I did today, so now I'm going to show you how to make a pizza sub, something that I haven't seen since the 90s. So let's flip this camera on. I'm going to show you the ingredients you're going to need to make a pizza sub. Alright, so the first up ingredient you're going to need obviously is going to be some hoagie rolls or sub rolls. I just got the basic Baker's Classics or whatever these are called. As you can see here, they show like a meatball sub on the front. These are fine if you want to find something more like Italian urban cheese or whatever like Subway has. Have at it, but these will work fine. You're also going to need some type of marinara sauce. I went up and bought this because I was actually out. I thought I still had some in the cupboard, but I didn't, so I had to run out and buy this just to shoot this video. So you can use whatever you got laying around. This just happens to be the one that I have. Other brands are available. I am using the roasted garlic because I don't actually have any garlic seasoning to put on this, so that'll add to the garlic flavor. You're also going to need some mozzarella cheese. You can use shredded. I'm using sliced today. I also have some of the larger pepperonis, just because I want to actually seem like there's something on this other than just sauce and cheese. So I got the larger pepperonis. I have some Canadian bacon. I do have a package of diced ham in the freezer, but I think I'm using that for something else. So I bought some Canadian bacon just because I want some Canadian bacon. Alright, we also have some of the smaller pepperonis. Again, other brands are available. This one's the cheapest pack I could find. This is just going to go on the top just to make it look more like a pizza. We're also going to be chopping up one onion, one bell pepper. I have some mushrooms here that are already chopped up. I just have to drain them and dry them. And then some sliced olives. And then we're also going to top it off with a little bit more Parmesan cheese. And I also got some pork sausage crumbles here. You can buy pork sausage or hamburger, ground it up and fry it. That's just going to take extra time, so I got the pre-browned stuff to where all I got to do is heat it up and add it on top. So this is a rather big bag. It cost me like $5, but I'll only use a little bit of it in the subs, and then I can use the rest in like biscuits and gravy or something for breakfast tomorrow. So as I pan back here, you're going to see all the ingredients you need to make a pizza sub. Alright, let's get over to the stove and start cooking. Alright, so we got our pan heating up on the stove here. Basically, I'm just going to heat up the sausage crumbles. This shouldn't take too long, but I do want them hot before I put them on top and put them in the oven. Even though they are going to heat in the oven, I just want to make sure they're fully heated so I don't like bite into one later and it's still partially frozen, because these were in the freezer. So we're going to turn onto a slightly medium-high heat. I have had this pan preheating already. I just turned it off while I was introducing the ingredients. So it is still fairly warm to the touch, so I can go ahead and get the sausage crumbles into the pan. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Alright, so there we have the sausage crumbles in the pan. As you can see, they're kind of whitish, so we just want those to brown up. So while those are doing that, I'm going to move over to the cutting board and we're going to cut up our onion and green pepper, which you guys have seen me do before. So I'm probably going to skip over that part and just show you them after they're already cut. But yeah, we're going to let this cook up. This was about half of the bag. I still got a good half here. It's below my finger, so yeah, pretty good amount, but I'm only making 6 of these and you only need a little bit on each one. So while we're cutting up our onion, I'm going to give this a stir. Once this is fully brown, the onions and peppers are cut up. I'll be back to show you the next step. Alright, so as you can see here, our sausage has started to brown up, which is what I wanted. I'm going to let this brown a little bit more until it's nice and evenly browned. But it's just about there. Once that's done rendering, we're going to drain off any grease and set it aside until we're ready for it. Also over here I have chopped up the onion. I haven't diced them up, just basically cut the onion in half, sliced down the long way, like if this was the side of the onion, sliced that way, so you just get these nice little strips. Kind of think of like how onions appear on an actual pizza, like those, and then just kind of cut it in half again, and you should be good. I did chop up one green bell pepper, just in 2 little pieces. I do have a second one I can cut up if I need it, but this might be enough for what I want to do. But I do have a second one on hand in case. If you actually want to do all 3 different types of peppers, like the green, yellow, and red, you can, or the orange. I know some pizzas usually have the green and red, so if you want to do the red one, you can. I have green because I'm not really a big fan of the reds. But yeah, we got those cut up, ready to go. So once my sausage is done browning up, I'll be on to show you the next step. Alright, so our sausage is almost done rendering, but while we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and turn our oven on to preheat. We're going to do it, let's say, about 400 degrees. And you can probably go a little bit less, but I'm going to go 400. And we're going to start the preheat. Again, everything's out of the oven, so we're good there. And then once this is browned up and ready, I'll be back to show you what we're going to do with all this stuff. Alright, so our sausage is done browning up, as you can see. So I drained it through a strainer, then I dumped it out of the strainer into a bowl with a paper towel on it so that it's not overly greasy when we're cooking. Also, I've come over here with my square pan, gotten out our hoagie rolls and just kind of opened them up. They are a little odd to open, some of them aren't fully cut all the way through, so just be careful. Try not to rip the seam if you can avoid it, but you do want them to lay semi-flat. I'm probably going to have to get a second pan to do all 6 of these, or I'm going to do 3 at a time. I'm not sure yet. Alright, let me rig up my mount, and then I'll be back to show you the next step. Alright, so we're back now, and we have our 3 buns here. So we've opened up our marinara sauce. And you just want to get about a tablespoonful, and just lightly spread it on the roll here. Not too heavy, not too light, but a decent amount. Put a little bit on each side if you want. And just kind of spread it evenly over. Like so. And there, our oven is done preheating. And we have our buns nice and saucy, like so. Alright, then we're going to come over here and get our big pepperonis. Again, this is pepperoni, it's not dried salami or any of that nonsense. It actually says pepperoni on it. And what you want to do is kind of lay them just going down the center like so. I'm going to do about 3 on each one. If you want to do a little bit more, go for it. If you want to do a 4th one, ain't gonna hurt my feelings. But remember, you do got 6 of these you're trying to make, so make sure you have enough to do everything. Which I have, that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I can do a few more on each one. So I'm actually going to do 4 on each. And that takes care of what I pulled out of the package. And if you want to put them like one side or the other, go for it. Alright, then we're going to take our Canadian bacon here, if I can get it open. Now our Canadian bacon is a little bit more limited, because you only get like 10 things in a pack here. So I am going to just use a couple of on each. Just to give it that nice hamminess. Maybe I'll do 3 on each. Let's see how this works. So I got 4 left, so yeah. We'll do 3 on each, why not? Again, I could probably do better with bigger rolls, or bigger, the hoagie rolls, just because of how much stuff I'm going to try and fit on here. But for right now, we're doing good. Next, you're going to want to take your mozzarella cheese. And again, just laying a few pieces over top. Actually, if you want to go this way with it so it looks fancy, go for it. And I got 2 packs of this, even though I'm probably not going to need both packs. But then I can do extra layers of everything on each of these. And again, if you want to use the shredded stuff, use the shredded stuff. I'm using this one. Hopefully it melts evenly. If not, I'll just deal with it as it goes. Oh, and one thing I did forget to do while I was waiting for the sausage to brown when I was cutting up my onion and pepper is I meant to open and drain the olives and mushrooms. So I'm going to do that real quick and I will be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and drained off my olives, which are fine. I drained off the mushrooms, but I actually threw them in the frying pan to saute for just a minute. So then we're going to grab some of our onions while we're waiting on those and just lightly sprinkle a couple of onions onto here. Don't go crazy with it. Like I said, this is a lot of stuff you're going to try and squeeze into this sandwich, because that's basically what a sub ends up being by the end of the day, is a large sandwich. Remember, I am making 3 more of these after this, so I do gotta be a little bit sparing with my onion. And a little bit of my green pepper here, just lightly sprinkled. You don't want to overdo it too much. Good. And we're just going to drop one. Drop a couple of those on there, like that. And grab some of our olives. Again, sparingly. It's just meant to look a bit like a pizza. Don't overdo it. You don't want the thing falling apart when you're trying to eat it too much. I mean, if it falls apart a little bit, no big deal. But don't overdo any of the toppings, is basically what I'm trying to get at. If any fall off, pick them up, put them back on. Alright, so kind of like that. Then we got our mushrooms coming up in just a second here. So I'm going to wait for those to finish up, and then I'll be right back to show you the next step. Alright, so I heated up the mushrooms. As you can see, they're kind of looking. If you want to use fresh mushrooms and just chop them up, probably work out better. But again, they're going to be cooked in the oven anyway, so you don't have to overdo it with these either. Be careful if you do heat these up, because they are very hot. These are actually kind of burning my fingers trying to put these on here. And I'm not a big fan of mushrooms, so I'm probably overdoing it a bit with these. But that's alright. Oh, and I almost forgot the other thing. The one ingredient that was most important is our sausage. So kind of spread some sausage around on here. At this point, it's probably going to be a little bit harder to keep the toppings all in place. That's alright, don't panic. If a few fall off, you can put more on later. Let the cheese melt up a little bit in the oven. You can always add a little bit more toppings, because then they'll start to stick into the cheese. Alright, so there's a bit of our sausage on there. Now the only thing I got left is the tiny pepperonis. Now remember, you don't need a lot of these because there is pepperoni on the bottom as well. Like I said, if I had my diced ham, that could go on now as well, but I'm not going to do all that. So then we're just going to layer some of these tiny pepperonis over top of this just to kind of hold everything in place. Like that should be good. And toppings are starting to fall off. Again, that's alright. As the cheese melts, they'll hold in place a lot better. Hey, look at that. Perfect 6 on each one. Actually, yeah, 6 on each one. Alright, final thing, we're going to dust with a little bit of Parmesan. Don't go crazy with it, just a light dusting. You can do this afterwards if you want. I do it now. Alright, so there we have our pizza subs. These are going to go in the oven for a few minutes, just enough to let everything heat up and melt, and then we'll fold them over and that'll be our sub. So I'm going to pop these in, and I'm going to work on the other 3, if I can find another pan. Alright, so I'll see you guys when these are ready to come out of the oven. Alright, the second batch is ready to go. The 1 bell pepper was more than enough. I still have a tiny bit of onion, tiny bit of mushroom, and a tiny bit of olives left over. I used up all of my Canadian bacon, my big pepperoni. Still got some of the little pepperonis left, and still got about 6 pieces of the mozzarella cheese left, and a little bit of the sausage crumble left. So everything worked out pretty well. So the other ones are ready to come out of the oven. I'm going to pop these ones into the oven, and you'll see a jump cut here, and when I come back, you'll see the finished product. Alright guys, so here we have the first set that came out of the oven. As you can see, the pepperonis are nice and toasted. The bread is also toasted. You can kind of hear the crunch in it. The sauce is evenly heated. And then over here are the other ones I just pulled out. As you can see, same type of situation. So now that you've seen them done, I'm going to show you how to plate them up, so I'll be right back. Alright guys, so here we have our finished product and our plate. So you're just going to get a spatula here. These should be fairly stiff, and you can just lift them off like that. Now the thing about a sub is it's supposed to be closed, so you just lightly press everything down into a nice little sandwich like that. Alright. So there is our pizza sub. Give me 1 minute to relocate over to the table, and you guys get to see me try the pizza sub and see how it turns out. If you want to eat this with a fork, you can, especially if there's a lot of toppings that are kind of falling off of it, or if you use too much sauce and it's kind of drippy. Go ahead and use a fork. I'm going to eat it by hand because it actually seemed like it was staying together pretty well. So I'm going to meet you over at the table, and we'll try it out. Alright, so here we are at the table. Again, sorry if I'm slightly out of tilt. This thing doesn't like to sit upright on the table. I got it propped up, but it could fall over at any time. So let's try and finish this up, because as you may be able to hear, it's starting to thunderstorm again. And I might lose power. So let's finish this up. So here we have our pizza sub. As I said, you can pick it up, fold it in half like a sub, and then you figure out which angle of attack you want to go with, and just take a bite out of it. Cheers. The sauce probably could be heated a little bit more, but other than that, everything's cooked evenly. It could be that these have been sitting out of the oven for a couple minutes while the other ones were in, and that's what cooled off the sauce. As you can see, toppings are falling out left and right. But yeah, there you have a pizza sub. Also, I might have heated up the Canadian bacon first also. It's a little underdone, but it's warm. It's just not quite where I would have wanted it. May heat that up in the pan after the crumbles. Not too much, just enough to heat it evenly. But overall, yeah, it's pretty good. The sliced cheese isn't real stringy like the shredded might be. If you actually find a restaurant or a pizzeria or delicatessen or something that actually still makes pizza subs, you'll probably bite into it and pull off like this huge string of cheese. But this one's actually edible without all that mess. So it actually turned out pretty well. There's a little bit of each topping in every bite, so it's a nice balance. So that's it for this episode. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my pizza sub. Maybe I'll have a second one. We'll see, because it's probably going to be very filling. But I want to thank you again, as always, for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Links are down in the description. Click the bell up there in the corner. Make sure you get notifications every time I post new content. And until next time, get cooking.